So Lisa, I just want to, first of all, thank you for sitting down with me. This is such a gorgeous community with such a rich history. So I'm just going to spit it out. How do you feel about this campaign to shut down Northback's project, which would revive an old mine and help this community like create jobs?
Oh, it actually just pisses me off. I think it's absolutely the most ludicrous thing I've ever heard in my life. How anybody from outside this community can look into it and say that we don't deserve a good standard of living. This community was built on coal, and this community should thrive on coal. And ever since coal shut down, the community has been an impoverished community. Taxes are high. We have 83% of our residents pay taxes. Our tax base is made up of 83% is residential. So we don't have any industry here. We have incredibly high taxes. It's a beautiful mountain community. And with that comes incredibly expensive houses. And so when you pay your taxes on the assessed value of your house, taxes here are incredibly high. And we don't have the industry to offset it. And we certainly don't have the wages to offset it. So when outside people come in and tell us that we shouldn't have a mine to make Southern Alberta prosperous, not just the Crowsnest Pass, Southern Alberta, and by default, the rest of Alberta prosperous, it actually just pisses me off.
So I come from Fort McMurray, where 95% of our taxes are paid by industry. And 80% of the taxes here, 83% of the taxes are paid by residents.
Yeah.
Because there's no industry.
Because there's zero industry. And the other problem that we have, which I assume is similar to Fort McMurray, is because we're a mountain community, the prices of our houses have gone through the roof, and you pay your taxes based on the assessed value of your homes.
Yeah.
So we're selling homes for $1 million homes now, which we've never seen before. And people have to pay the taxes on that. So they could be living in a miner's cottage that 5 years ago was worth $100,000 or $200,000. Those houses are now worth $600,000 or $700,000. And you have to pay the tax on that. And they don't have the wages to subsidize that.
Do you believe that tourism will ever happen here?
Tourism can be a component. I'm a firm believer that you can do both. I think you can have a vibrant, great tourism, but you can also have an economic base of coal mining. I think that both can happen. They're not mutually exclusive, and I think that they can work hand in hand because industry helps pay for tourism. When you look at, in the Crowsnest Pass, we have incredible mountain biking. Well, those trails were paid for by the coal mine just across the border.
I see the golf course.
The golf course was paid for by the mines.
Yeah. From my understanding, a lot of these environmental precautions and reclamation, they're state of the art.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm not saying there's always a concern for the environment, but I would argue you're paying residents paying 80% of the taxes. This community's struggling, and it's not fair.
Yeah.
So it's like the tourists are like, if people are buying vacation home, these millionaires and billionaires jacking up the price of the community, so average people who live here can't afford to live here.
It's true. You know, we did in the last census, we did find out that 52% of our population makes under $50,000 a year. So you either work in the coal mines across the border and you have an incredible standard of living, or you don't and you live in poverty. And that's really where it is. Our schools have a tremendous food program because there's so many kids that can't eat or do not have enough food. Food insecurity is huge here. And, you know, everybody, we should all be stewards of the environment. I am a steward of the environment. I hike, I bike, I climb mountains. I love this community. But we also have to look at it through the lens of the 21st century and how they reclamate and how they mitigate selenium. And you can't compare what happened in a legacy coal mine across the border.
No.
You need to look at what is EVR or Elk Valley Resources doing to mitigate it, which was started by Teck. And that water is getting mitigated. That water is, all of the right parameters are being done to keep the selenium levels well below what would harm anybody or anything. And you have to remember that the numbers that are being put out there are numbers that are not attainable sometimes, especially in Montana. Some of the numbers that they're coming up with for selenium levels aren't even attainable. The numbers that they are doing are well below anything that's going to cause issues for your health or for the aquatic environment, and it's being done. We need to look at that science instead of looking at legacy coal mining and say, we'll do it as good, or better than what's being done now.
Your family has been in the coal mining for how many years? How many generations?
So my great-grandfather emigrated from Poland directly to Coleman in 1905. to work in the coal mines. He eventually brought his wife over in 1910. My grandfather was a tipple boss here in Coleman's. My father worked in oil and gas here in the Crowsnest Pass. My husband's a geological engineer, has worked for the same company since 1996 and has had steady employment in the coal industry. And 2 of my kids are mining. So yeah, 5 generations of coal miners. And we're darn proud of it too.
So what is your message to young people in this community? Like, should they hold on to a bit of hope that this mine will happen and they have a future here in the town?
Yeah, you know, I think that if we're ever going to have a coal mine, it's going to be under this government, because the difference between Danielle Smith and Jason Kenney is that Danielle Smith has a very good vision of what this province can be, and she doesn't get bullied by anybody. Jason calved under the pressure, and I really like Jason Kenney. I think he's a wonderful human being.
Yeah.
I liked him as a premier, but he really kind of calved under the pressure, and Danielle Smith doesn't. And I think Danielle Smith's smart enough to really read the science. And I think, you know, I really feel that we're going to get this coal mine, that it really is a small percentage of people with a very large voice that are trying to stop it. And I think if people just look at it from an economic standpoint, from a scientific standpoint, take the hysteria, the preconceived notions, take out historic mining practices, and really look at it as a lens of prosperity, I really think that we're going to get this coal mine. And I think the Crowsnest Pass, one of the best comments, Crowsnest Pass was supposed to be the Pittsburgh of Canada. That was the analogy that they had when the mine started. And now I say that the Crowsnest Pass, again, could become the Pittsburgh of Canada.
What is your message to the people trying to stop the project?
Just listen to the science, you know, have conversations. Get out of your echo chambers and have conversations about the industry, about the effects of the industry, and just listen to the scientists and do your own research. Like, take a minute and educate yourself properly, and then make a rational decision based on that education. And we don't have enough of that. We don't critically think enough. We're so busy listening to the hype from a country western singer or an NGO that we don't take a moment and just hear the science and hear the economic viability of it, and from that make a good decision. And we can all prosper in this province. We are a resource-rich province, and it doesn't matter what that resource is, it can make us all the best place in the world to live.